Hi, welcome to NDE TV. I'm Peggy Robinson. Today's guest is Lynn VanPraagh-Gratton. Did I get it? Okay. And she is a psychic, medium, spiritual worker. And I'm interested to know begin with her childhood experiences that she had, that later she realized this was like, you guys are like born with this gift. Is that right? Your family?
Yes. Yeah. I have it runs in my family. Well, as far as back as I know, it was with my Aunt Maggie O'Day, and then it went to my mom has the gift also. She we brought up in an Irish Catholic family, so she has the gift, but she she did not understand it, and so as she got older, she wound up becoming an alcoholic, and that's because what happened was a lot of things that she was seeing, she thought that she was basically hallucinating. So so she kind of like shrugged it to the way, but she was very religious, very, very religious. And then that's how she brought us up. And then it came to me and to my brother, and now some of my grandchildren are connecting with it, my son. So it's coming right down the family line. It's coming right down the family line, and different ways. My son does it through music. He's a healer, a musician, and a healer. He heals through music. So that's how he works.
Okay, that's cool. Your brother, I watched his movie about him, and I can't think what that was called.
He did a couple of them. He did one with I'm trying to think of her name. I can't think of her name at the moment, but he's done a couple of them. But the biggest one was I think it was Talking with the Dead or something like that. It was his child. It was
Talking to Heaven, I think.
Talking to Heaven, yeah, because he did the book, and then he did a movie from in packed with the book, and that was we had Jack Palance was in it, and that was my dad. Diane Lane was my mom, and he had I'm trying to think who else was in it. Mary Steenburgen was in it, and a lot of nice, big stars. And he wanted to give it a little of like how his life was then, growing up into that way. But it's and around the Catholic school, the Catholic religion, of course, and everything. So, but it was pretty good books. The movie. So he's done many books, but he's done a couple of movies also. He's done that. So very, very well known medium. I stayed back. I waited a couple before I was ready to come out. When I had the gift. I have the gift, and I used to go to school, the same thing, go to Catholic school, and a lot of times I wrote a book called Divine Dimes, and it's in the book. And in the book, I described how I would go across the street at lunchtime, and I would talk to the statues at 12 years old, thinking they're talking back to me. But meanwhile, it was spirit that was coming forth and bringing forth things. And I kind of was very confused because, that strict Catholic religion, you can't believe in any of that. But I was like a little rebellious, and I was a loner. I always was a loner in school, and because I always felt that I had my invisible friends with me. So that's basically how it came.
Did you talk to the statue, like, because you needed a visual? Do you think back now?
Yeah, I do a lot. Like I see, hear, feel. I did. I talked. Basically, there's a statue in the religion called it's Saint Therese, and I would go. My confirmation name is her name, and I would go and sit at lunchtime where the other children were out playing, and I was going and sitting right next to the statue and talking to the statue. And of course I went back to class late, and then they said that, well, you're late, and you'll have detention. So here I am, I'm trying to connect, but I didn't know what I was doing. I just, I guess, kill lunchtime. Yeah. And so it just came, it just comes. So yes. So what happened is I did write my book, Divine Dimes. I also did predict COVID in my book. I wrote the book. It took 5 years that I really wanted to put a book together that it's like a healing book. And what happened was I wrote the book, and then in 2017, copyrighted in the summer of 2019. And then, of course, I launched it on December 7th, 2019, and COVID just hit right after it. So I did mention it, you know, and I only work with the light. And a lot of people say to me, they go, well, how come you predicted COVID? Well, I just felt germ warfare. I mean, it was a connection with 9/11 too with me. So I see ahead of time things, you know, I just have to get them exact. But COVID, you know, everybody thinks it's a negative, and it is, because we've lost a lot of beautiful souls, but it also is a positive in other ways. So it is a positive and a negative that's going on with what we're going through right now.
What's
So
the positive?
definitely. Well, the positive is, first of all, a lot of the families are getting together that you know, who have not been together. So they had all that time to spend together, to understand each other, to realize what's going on. A lot of things with people with work, you know, now it's more that people work from home, you know, maybe, and like I live in New York. So, you know, in Manhattan and everything, it's a whole changed world in there. You know, you have a lot of homeless in there. It's like everything came out. Everybody came out from in the woodwork, you know, and there's a lot of homeless in there and everything. It's just starting to get back together a little, but it's still a little frightening for people to go in there. You know, I have a lot of family that's in Broadway and TV, and, you know, a lot of, you know, the Broadway shows and everything, they had to put a halt onto it and everything too. So it, you know, it was a little sad by that, but again, and I really feel it was for time for the world to wake up. You know, there's a whole big shift in the dimensions of the third and fifth dimension, and everything is shifting, and we have to, it's all about love, you know, and it was getting too crazy. And that's what, you know, that's what I believe, you know, why this had to happen. And of course, it's what's, you know, going on in the other countries too. You know, it's just, it just feels a sad state of affairs, you know, with what's going on. I will say too that it was in 2001. In 2000, my husband had passed, and he passed tragically. And that's when my gifts skyrocketed. That's when I came out. I'd worked for the airlines, and I managed flight attendants, and I would fly back and forth all over the world. And I worked for the airlines, and I went on a lot of trips with my brother, you know, a lot of cruises, a lot of spiritual cruises and stuff. And we were landing in Istanbul, and this was 2 weeks before 9/11. And I had said to him, I said, you know, I don't know why I fear something with the United States. And he says to me, you're crazy. What are you talking about? I said, no, I really feel this. I feel we're being threatened. And he said, oh, stop. And every time I would say something, he'd say, you know, you're crazy. Forget about that. And it always would come to fruition. So, so what happened was the day before 9/11, I was going down to Dallas, Texas. I worked for American Airlines, and I was with a friend of mine, and I had this eerie feeling because it was Monday, 9 o'clock in the morning, flying out of New York and flying over the Statue of Liberty. And I said to her, I said, you know, I said, I would hate to see anybody do anything to the Statue of Liberty. Little did we know the next day this all happened. But it so happened that when I went down to Dallas, I was with all the managers from Washington and Boston, and those were the two flights that were flying that were taken down. And you know, and it was just all a crazy day before, a crazy feeling within, and then it all happened. So I do reminisce a lot. I do predict a lot. You know, and sometimes I predict, but I say, how do you explain this? Oh, they're going to take down, you know, they're going to take down, you know, New York, the Twin Towers, you know, and a lot of people don't know this. And there was a plane that I worked every morning at Kennedy Airport that would fly to London, and it would leave at 8:45 in the morning. And that morning, before this all happened, that plane was ready to go to London. Well, there were two of the terrorists that were on that plane. They were in first class and in business class, and we had a mechanical on that plane, so it couldn't go. So they deplaned the plane, and the two guys came off and said to the #1 flight attendant, I feel sorry for your fellow employees. Now, it didn't even happen yet. So the head flight attendant went to the captain, but by the time they got that all together, then all hell was breaking. It was all over. So that was a plan, and that was headed for the Grand Central Terminal in New York. And a lot of people don't know that. And I have freedom that I can mention it, but it's just so sad how these things are going on. And now with COVID, and it's just sad to see the families that have lost such loved ones so quickly, and but we're all learning big lessons. And
Dying alone too makes it hard.
9/11 makes it hard. And those souls, I believe that those souls are coming back really quick. Those souls that we lost in 9/11 are returning faster. Okay, faster. So a lot of the young children that you see now, my belief is that a lot of those are souls that were in 9/11 and they're coming back. That's the new world. These are the new children that are coming up. More of them are interested in spirituality. They're interested in crystals, interested in so many different things. And it's so beautiful because when I grew up, probably when you grew up too, we weren't really allowed to be talking about all that stuff because that was all kind of hocus pocus stuff, but it's truth. And, like the name of your show, Near Death, there is a life and then you come back and you keep coming back. But I had and I if I could share this story, I had a lady that I know was a good friend who had passed and came back as a near death. And what happened was, and she wanted me to share this because she said, I want people to know what it's like on the other side. And she said, that's why she wanted to share it. So I want to share it. Her name was Marie, if that would be okay. Yeah. Her name was Marie, and she was a mom. She had 2 children, and her daughter was getting married in a couple of months. And what happened was she had a massive heart attack, and she came back. Okay. And I met her at a dinner, and she said, Lynn, I want to talk to you and tell you what I experienced. So maybe you can, let people know what it's about over there. So this was her explanation. And I talk about it a lot. I might have put it in my book. I don't know if I did. I think I did, because it's very powerful to me. She said that she was floating above the bed, the hospital bed. She was in the doctor's office. That's when she had a massive heart attack. And she was floating above the bed. And she said that she could see around, like 360, from the back to the side to the front. She could see everything. She could see them working on her. And that's textbook. We all know that. And she said that she saw them working on her. But she said the feeling that she was experiencing, she cannot even describe. She said it was the most peaceful place she needed to be. And she knew that her daughter was getting married, and she, I guess she felt bad in her own, her consciousness felt bad, but she was where she wanted to be. She said she saw levels of family members. So she went from parents to grandparents to great grandparents, each different level. She said there was the light that was way down to the end. She said the music was so beautiful. She actually saw music notes dancing past her as she heard the angelic music coming. She had described color. She said the color was so vibrant to our eyes, we wouldn't even be able to take it compared to the blues and the yellows and the greens. She just was at such a beautiful, peaceful place and did not want to come back. So she came back. And that's when she talked to me, and she was like upset. She says, I really was where I wanted to be. It is the most beautiful place. A couple of months later, before her daughter's wedding, she had another massive heart attack and left, and she went back. And of course, her daughter got married and had a child, a baby girl, a child. But I always remember her saying that because, she said that the feeling, the most peaceful, beautiful feeling that you feel, it's indescribable. It's indescribable. And I like to share that with some family members when I do sessions, because they want to know where their loved ones are. They want to know what they're doing. Where are they? And I can actually say from experience, I know when they first transition over, basically where they start, where it starts and how the feeling is. So
this really got more evident to you when your husband passed? Was it him
Yes.
first that you were seeing or communicating with?
Yes. So why I wrote the book, Divine Dimes, I'm gonna just hold up. Why I wrote this book is because my husband was a New York City homicide detective, and he did not believe in any of this. My brother would tell him things because we had lost his brother in 1980 from a motorcycle accident, and my husband didn't want to hear it. You know, I don't want to hear that there's this and that, and you know, your brother's saying this and that, but he didn't believe. He was a real thick-headed cop, basically.
Need the evidence, probably.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what happened was, with that was that we had made an agreement because I always had the gift. I worked a lot with the flight attendants, you know, with different things. You know, I was asked by certain towns, because I'm all over the country, I'm all over the world at this point, and calling me to ask, you know, for investigations and stuff like that. And he just wasn't getting it. So he says, look, if I leave before you, I'm going to leave you dimes. He says, and if you leave before me, you leave me dimes, if this is all true. And if it's not, then you'll never get dimes. So I said, okay, great. So what happened was 3 years later, he had passed tragically. He was 48 years old. And it was a real tough gig, you know, for my children and for myself, my granddaughter at that point. And a couple of months after, I was getting out of bed and there was a dime stuck to my leg as I got out of bed. And then I said, oh, I get it. So now I had to write the book. And once I meet people, when I do my sessions and stuff, my readings, that's all they do is send me pictures of dimes in the most bizarre places. They weren't there, they were there. And he's made himself very much known to, in the book, I have a lot of pictures of validations, you know, with his name on a truck coming down the street that my brother says, do you think he's around? And here he came. And license plates right after he passed. My daughter had to get a license plate from a motor vehicle. And the license plate read CME 6007. And he passed June 7th of 2000. So, and I have a picture of the license plate. I validate everything I have because people might say, yeah. No, I validate it. So, after that happened, it seemed like my gift skyrocketed. And I wound up, and I am in I have a big following in Denver, Florida, over in Ireland and everything. So a pretty big following, and I'm blessed, and I'm humbled, and I'm blessed that they chose me to go through this and help thousands and thousands of people. And I always say, was the agreement, was my husband's soul contract, maybe if he leaves that I can help more people, because I probably would not be doing this on a full-time basis if he was here. We would be enjoying our retirement, but I know that I have to help people like this, and that's where it comes from. And I always want validations all the time. But
now,
you know,
now since the pandemic or whatever, do you just do it online like we are? I mean, like.
Well, I do. Well, what happened was I do a lot of Zoom. I've been doing a lot of restaurants. I do a lot of restaurants on Long Island, New York, upstate. I do group readings. I go to them. I don't have a storefront. A spirit has always had me go to people. If there's a lot more people. Otherwise, I do Zoom or phone readings. But I do a lot of restaurants. I was just voted for 2 years straight. And I don't boast about it. You know, I'm humbled by it. Best psychic of Queens, New York for the last 2 years. And they just nominated me again this year. And now I just got nominated for Long Island too. So I'm humbled by it because the more we can get that word out of the light and spread that light and help people that are going through such, such heartache, maybe try to put them in a better place, then that's what we do. You know, that's what we're supposed to do. So last year I'm a worker. I do what I have to do. I go, we're in a restaurant. I don't read 5 or 10 people. No, I read 30 because I'm crazy. I need to get that out, and I give a lot of myself. And a year ago,
What do you mean? You meet 30, like have a bunch of
I
people
gave
there?
30 short readings. Your mother,
Oh,
your father's here, this and that, give them evidence, and then move on to the next person. You know, I know some people, and I don't judge anybody. Some people just do maybe 5 or 10. And I feel these people laid out money. They're here. They want to hear from their loved ones. The best I can do, I'll do as much as I can do. You know, and I never get all of them because it's usually about 50. But I try to get as many as spirit, you know, as spirit gives me the messages for. And so what happened was about a year ago, it was in October, let's see, it was after COVID, right? COVID, yeah. So in July, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I knew that this was another thing that the universe is doing. I knew that I had to write another book. And the other book I had to write about when the doctor gives you the diagnosis, you don't live in the fear, because we can heal ourselves. We can heal ourselves. And I was kind of like upset. Why is this happening now? I've helped so many thousands of people. And it was a tough deal. And I was still going through different treatments and still working, still doing my Zoom sessions, still helping these people, you know, giving my all. And I worked through the whole thing. God bless, just not good here. I think we have a miracle here. Well, we're not going to announce it yet, but I know I'm healed. I'm in a good place. But again, I'm to do it because I'm here now to help people who either are dealing with cancer or survivors, or to help them get through certain things. So now they went from people who have passed over to family members to now to helping people. So now this is more of a medical book, and it's about my journey, and it's a positive. It's not a negative, you know, and I think it'll help a lot of people. So once I get a publisher, then I'll be okay. I don't want to self-publish. This needs to be out there for the people. So I'm working on that.
What do you do to get ready for these sessions? I mean, you said something about you work with the light. I mean, what does that mean?
Yes. So when I work with the light, I work with the positive, the light. So what I do is when I have a session, I even did it today before we came on. I say my prayers. I meditate on the whole situation, on what it is, and only bring me in the positive, the light. You know, the things the words I'm supposed to speak. You know, what I'm supposed to share, and that's basically how I work. I work through. You know, that God light, you know, that universal energy. It's all energy. So, and I basically, to probably do that about 15, 20 minutes, maybe half hour sometimes before. So I open up, okay? I open up completely. So a lot of people say, well, do you stay open? I know one of the big mediums, they say they stay open all the time. That's kind of hard because light attracts light. So we're attracting, if you're open, you're attracting energies, and it can be lower energies, low vibration, it can be high vibration, we attract it. So what I do is before session, before reading, I meditate and I open up. I open up all my chakras, open to receive, and ask for only that for my highest good and for my client's highest good. And that's when the messages come forth. They'll close me down if I have a group. I know when my guides will close me down, and then I'll be closed and can't get nothing. Like I don't walk in the store and say, oh, your mother, your father, this. No, unless I'm supposed to share something with somebody. And that happened at a hair salon a year ago. I was in the hair salon, which I wasn't supposed to be there. I was supposed to be there the next day, but we changed the appointment. And there was a lady there, and I saw her son's energy behind her. And I don't go over to people, but I felt that he was asking me to go to his mom. And his mom was Muslim, so she was completely, you know, covered in black. And I went to her, and she accepted me with open arms. And we talked, and I talked to her about the tattoo that she had on her arm that she didn't want anybody to know because she didn't like tattoos, but she knows that her son would want this. So she went and had it done. So I described the exact tattoo to her, and she couldn't believe it. And we sat and we talked. And 2 weeks later, I went to, so there's no coincidences in time. You're where you're supposed to be. I went and I was doing a dinner session. So there's about 50 people there, and she was there. And she was there with her other son. And she came over to me and she says, "Thank you so much." She said, "I now can understand about my son." And she was an all light beige, no more black. She says, now I understand. And now I'm in a different color. Look at a bright color. And I said, well, that's what he wants. So it helped her a lot. So those are the kind of things that the universe has me take care of and do.
Do those spirits tend to follow you around after that, or just come in, gone?
No. When I close, the energy's gone, because these are messages for them to hear, not for me to hold on and to keep. They're for them to hear. So once that happens, that they move on. I don't have the connection with that anymore. No, I close down completely, because people thought I was bringing them all home. Don't leave them here, bring them home. No, they're dead. They're anywhere. They're not there. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on and explaining all this stuff, because it's new to me. I think I've interviewed a couple of psychics so far, and I'm just really curious about it, and like how it came up in their childhood, and how it, a lot of them say it'll peak later, or something happens. And
well, everybody is intuitive. Everybody in the world, our energies are intuitive. I feel there's a lot of people who are gifted with clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. I was blessed with all three. Sometimes it's a bless or a curse, but I feel it's a blessing. And I'm glad that more people are learning about it. I teach development classes to help them develop in the right way, to help them understand and develop in the right way, because you don't want to go to somebody who really kind of doesn't know what's going on, and then they're geared in a whole different place. You have to protect yourself. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So I just started a mentorship program. I'm starting in January. I'm doing the classes, and then, like I said, I wrote 3 books. So I'm kind of like, I just want to get that word out and just let them know that they're not suffering. They're okay. And when it's time to go, it's time to go. And like a lot of near deaths and everything. It's there's so many portals, and there's so many times that we can leave, and sometimes we choose, sometimes the time we choose is that time for this lifetime. So, and that's what I believe in, for sure. But I do a live Facebook on Monday nights, and I do short readings, and I have a really great group of people on Facebook and Instagram, and it's really a nice thing, because they get they ask questions, and they get some kind of relief for certain things that they need to get with also.
Okay.
All
right. So if somebody wants to reach you, you have a website, or?
Yes, I have a website. It's a long one, but it's Lynn VanPraagh-Gratton.com. Okay. And my Facebook is Lynn VanPraagh-Gratton. The reason why I wanted my maiden name in there is because I'm a widow, and I wanted to have it. And of course, our name is very important, for helping people. So that's why I did that. And Instagram, I think it's also Lynn VanPraagh, I believe, Gratton also. So absolutely. And my office, if they want, is 917-882-1391, if they care to make an appointment through phone or however. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
You're so welcome, Peggy. Thank you. You too. Thank you. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.